Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today is, this is a first. We have a tier 10 premium ship in World of Warships Blitz. And given that, this is such a first event, I'm going to start this with a public service announcement. Because I haven't done that in about, I think, 50 videos. So it's probably about time to do it again. One of the really, really nice things about World of Warships Blitz is that you don't need to buy premium ships to win. In fact, having premium ships by no means compensates for lack of skill in using them. Let's take a look on, before we actually go into the Buffalo, let's take a look on how to get the Buffalo. And again, I'm doing this not to tell you to buy it or to tell you not to buy it. I'm telling that so you have all the facts in hand. That's the purpose of this video. You know how much you paid to get it, and you know what you get for the money that you pay for it. So let's have a quick look. They're crates. We've got crates over here, and here we have the Ultimate Buffalo crate, which costs 2,500 gold. And if we look at the information, it has a 3.42% chance of getting you a Buffalo for 2,500 gold. Now, I have my trusty spreadsheet here, and I've done this in a past video, and I'm doing that again, because chance, and this is gambling, let's face it, chance has an interesting way of, adding up, because this is a single event, and you might need a couple of tries to get the Buffalo. So 3.3% chance doesn't sound like much. How many chests do you need to open to get a better chance? Let's say 50%. Well, according to math, if you open 20 loot boxes, you get about a 50% chance of getting the Buffalo. If you open 50 loot boxes, you get about an 82% chance of getting the Buffalo. For 20 loot boxes, at least in that would be about 40,000 gold. In Australian currency, that would be 250 Australian dollars. That gives you a 50-50 chance of getting a Buffalo. Now, again, I'm not saying do it, and I'm not saying don't do it. If you feel like you really want the ship and you have the money to spare, by all means, just be aware of, what you're getting yourself into. And it's everybody's choice. I support the game in that I think it's good for somebody who can afford to do things, to pay money, such that, Wargaming continues to support the game and making the game, because that keeps it free for everybody else. On the same side, I would like to avoid people thinking that they need to spend outrageous amounts of money that they probably can't spare on gambling and loot box systems without really understanding what they're getting for it. Right, so much for the public service announcement. Now, what are you actually getting for it? Well, you're getting the Buffalo, which is a tier 10 cruiser. Historically, the Buffalo did not exist. Well, that's a first, isn't it? She was a concept, or at least the underlying thing was a concept. And I think it was called the CA-B concept from the 1940s. And basically what they were thinking was to make an improved Baltimore. Because, the Baltimore was there. And this was supposed to be a successor to the Baltimore. These things never got built, but the idea was to stick an additional turret on it. And if we look closely, we kind of see that here. She's got 2 turrets in the front, and she actually has 2 turrets in the rear. There we go, 2 rear turrets. This competes with the Des Moines at tier 10. And this is probably the first point where it starts to get interesting. And to see it at first glance, you'd say, they've thrown a tier 10 premium out there, given her an additional turret and asking us outrageous amounts of money for it. But this isn't a Des Moines with another turret. And this will become quite important later on. Let's have a quick look at the Des Moines. And I've actually gone and fully upgraded the Des Moines here, just so we have a comparison, because she is the tech tree, the free tier 10 premium, tier 10 American heavy cruiser that you can get without paying any money whatsoever. The Des Moines has 39,000 hit points. The Buffalo has a very slightly, about 700 margin higher amount of hit points. Other than that, the armor looks completely identical to the Des Moines. Now, we don't know the actual armor model, but At least in the values that we can see, it looks identical. In terms of speed and maneuverability, they have the identical setup in terms of equipment, so these numbers are directly comparable. They have the same speed. The Des Moines is a little bit... actually, they don't have the identical equipment. They used to have the identical equipment, but I changed that. We get to that. The Des Moines is a bit faster to get up to speed because I have the propulsion mod in slot 2. And the Des Moines is more maneuverable by a fair margin. The Des Moines has a turn time of 6.7 seconds, and the Buffalo has a turn time from 7.9 seconds. And that's with a double steering setup. In terms of guns, this is where the hook sits, right? So remember I said she is an improved Baltimore. She is not an improved Des Moines. The Des Moines gets the Mark 16 turrets. These are the semi-auto loaders, which means she has a base reload time of 6 seconds. The Buffalo gets the Mark 15 turrets. These are the Baltimore turrets. She just gets one more of them. So what we have here is not a tier 10 Des Moines with another turret. This is a Baltimore with another turret. And there's more evidence for that. In terms of secondaries, the two of them look completely identical. Oh, in terms of damage, the Buffalo's armor piercing is not quite as good as the Des Moines' armor piercing. The high explosive is very comparable. Actually, the high explosive is quite good on the Buffalo. So, secondaries, completely identical. AA. Now, if you know the Des Moines, if you've played the Des Moines, and I have played the Des Moines quite a bit, and I love the Des Moines dearly, she is an AA monster. This thing can swat planes out of the sky like no tomorrow. So let's look at the raw values. The Buffalo gets a large caliber AA of 230 and a small caliber AA of 350. The Des Moines comes in with 260 and 428. So the Des Moines has a better base AA. There is another value here that you probably missed. The Des Moines small caliber AA, small in big air quotes, has a range of 3 kilometers at base. And this isn't an AA build. This is literally the stock Des Moines with this. I'm not 100% sure. I've had a quick look, and it looks like the Des Moines herself got her 40mm pom-poms replaced with 76mm anti-aircraft cannons. The secondaries are doubling up as the large caliber AA, but the small caliber AA on the Des Moines is absolutely ridiculously murderous, both in terms of absolute damage output and in terms of range. Any plane group that attacks a Des Moines is gone. This is not the same with the Buffalo. The small caliber AA on the Buffalo are probably still the 40mm pom-poms, and she gets a 1.8 kilometer range on the small caliber AA. Lastly, on concealment, the Buffalo gets 9.4 kilometer range, and the Des Moines gets 9.3 kilometer concealment. So they're very, very similar on this. I think one last thing I wanted to point out, because I think it's being pointed out in the advertisement for the Buffalo, she's got a range of 11.9 kilometers. The Des Moines only gets 11.2. This is kind of one of the weak points that you have on the American heavy cruisers. The range isn't the greatest, so you often need to be getting uncomfortably close to the enemies. How have I set up my Buffalo? Let's have a quick look at the equipment. For a long-range cruiser like this and an HE spammer, I was kind of tempted to go with main battery mod 2, but the turrets are not super durable. I've actually lost turrets without it. So I decided to do the same setup as on the Des Moines, which is the main battery mod 3 for better dispersion. I have the steering gear mod in slot 2. I've played her with the propulsion mod, and I've struggled. And I'll give you the reason for that in a minute. I have the steering gear mod 2 in the other slot, same as on my Des Moines. And still, even with those two modules, her turn time is less than what you have on the Des Moines with only one module in. The commander I've set her up with, I've basically picked a level 10 commander out here, and because I wanted to compare her, and I haven't played the Des Moines with the IFHE or APCS. So this is just kind of how I would have set him up. I have the underwater protection. I've got an additional air defense because the Buffalo only at stock, if we look at this and the details, she gets 2 air defense alert too. And 3 rapid reloads. The Des Moines, if we look at the ship skills, gets 3 Rapid Reload 2, not the 1, and 3 Air Defense Alert 2, and 1 Radar. So the Des Moines doesn't need that, whereas in the Des Moines I could go for the Torpedo Alert, whereas in the Buffalo I would have gone with the Battlefield Support, because 2 AA, especially with her weaker base AA, is not enough. I have the Artillery Maintenance, obviously Air Defense Expert. I actually have Fire Supremacy for an additional Rapid Reload, because we are running on 7-minute games in Tier 10, and I can use them also because of the 8-second base reload on the Buffalo. Otherwise, Survivalist would have been the choice. Exploit weakness, so if something's on fire, and with an 8% fire chance, it will be, it's always good to do a bit more damage. I've got the Fully Prepared here because that makes sense. I've got the Adrenaline Rush here when you inevitably get damaged. The Extinguisher doesn't really make that much sense because the American high-tier ships are really difficult to catch fire. Demo Expert and the Master Reloader, obviously, for improving the Rapid Reload skill. I am still on the fence if you would want IFHE or if you want the APCS on either of these ships. In the Des Moines, I tend to lean towards the APCS just because the armor piercing is absolutely murderous. I found that the Baltimore's guns on the Buffalo in Tier 10 are slightly less punchy on the armor piercing, but actually have a really excellent high explosive shells. So I would probably tend more towards the IFHE, but I haven't explored any of that. Right. So what did I say earlier? I said something that I said was going to be really important. Yes. So the Des Moines, if she's bow in with a 6-second base reload and the reload mod 2, has, even just with 2 forward turrets, an absolutely murderous damage output. You can play the Des Moines without ever showing broadside to anybody. You can play this thing like a French premium battleship, pretty much. The Buffalo is not like that. If you play the Buffalo the same way, and I've done this in the beginning, and I wondered why I'm struggling with this ship, the Buffalo, if you play her like that, you're playing a Baltimore at Tier 10, because that's literally what it is. Because your advantage over the Baltimore is the additional rear turret. This means that, unlike the other American heavies, she is not a position bow tanking battleship. She's a kiter. You have to play this ship more like one of the light cruisers to get the full value out of her, because otherwise you're literally just playing a Tier 9 ship at Tier 10, where if you're only using the forward turrets. That doesn't mean you can't do it, but with her weaker maneuverability, and I had to put the second module in, you don't really also have the acceleration to bounce back and forth quite as much as you can with the Des Moines, and she doesn't quite excel like that in the same positioning. So she plays differently than the Des Moines at Tier 10, which is good, I think, because otherwise you'd literally just be having another Des Moines. What's the point of it? Anyway, I think that's all the details. Let's go into a battle. All right, we're playing Encounter. There's a carrier on the enemy team. Yama, Monty, double Yama, Izumo, a Baltimore on the enemy team, and a Gearing. Okay. And let's go. Right, so a kiter. I will usually be more careful and not go into these kind of bow-in positions because it is relatively difficult in her to disengage again because of the lack in acceleration and maneuverability. In return, I'll play her more like I would probably play one of the other super heavy cruisers at Tier 10. All right, let's see here. 1 destroyer. So we probably, let's go left. And with 1 destroyer, we don't really have to. We're probably better off supporting our destroyer and giving AA cover. So that Yugomo there, in case the carrier goes for him, I can probably deter the carrier from doing this. I've got the armor piercing loaded. The armor piercing is good against relatively lightly armored targets, but against battleships it will struggle. It looks like our carrier was trying to draw the fighters into me, but they haven't taken the bait. Okay, switching over to the high explosive, there is a battleship. So I do need to give, again, with the Des Moines I would probably have gone bow in here. But with this ship I will need to give a bit more of an angle And that Izumo, okay, he's in range. Off we go and pop the rapid reload. Because the base reload is not as quick as it would otherwise be. There's the first fire. And he gets a couple more fires from the planes, extinguishes those. Okay, there's an enemy Baltimore. That's dangerous for our Yugumo. Yugumo's torping, so he's probably plane spotted. So I'm gonna have to dissuade that Baltimore. Let's see if I can hit him from here. Is he turning out or in? I'm not quite sure. Okay, that was just a couple superstructure hits. Let's see about this. Oh, no, he's turning out. Okay, now these were missing. All right, but you see, I'm kiting away. I'm actually reversing right now, but I'm in a position to kite away because I don't know where the other battleships are. That's the Baltimore on fire again. I don't know where the other battleships are, so I don't want to push too far ahead and then have to go bow in or into a defensive position. Okay, I'm giving air cover to the Izumo. I think these are just fighters, so I don't really need to use my... Oh, that was a high explosive citadel. I said high explosive is excellent on this ship. I don't quite remember having this sort of thing happening on the Baltimore itself. Okay, the Izumo's got that, so I can stop reversing. By the way, have you seen that little radar dish on top of here? She doesn't get the radar. The Des Moines gets the radar. This one doesn't. It's really weird because the Des Moines doesn't have that dish. So either this is something else or it's just a really neat little Easter egg. Okay, that's Izumo giving shots out. With the Des Moines, I would have been out of the way, but this one, I'd take a couple on the tail. Probably overpens, no big deal, as long as the Citadel doesn't get hit. Okay, can I get the Izumo? Nope, the carrier get her. Okay, enemy team's 2 ships down. That's the Balti, and this flank is clean. They're bunkering down over there, so it's time to move forward. And again, this is an excellent American cruiser, and I really like the American heavies. It looks like the carrier is coming out, so let's see what the armor piercing can do at this range, max range against the Midway. She does have a better range than the Des Moines, and that's always been a bit of an issue in the Des Moines. But also, again, you'd be kiting. Now, if you have the rapid reload active, she does reload reasonably quickly, and you get these 12 shells on target. You can do a severe amount of damage. I mean, look at this. It's just melting away that Midway. I'm still not really doing my full pens here, so I would probably, if I do that again, go with the high explosive. Izumo takes the kill, and that's another one down. The carrier is gone. We have rolled up the flank, so we just need to mop up the rest of them. Where's the destroyer, actually? I haven't seen that. Was it a gearing? I think there he is, hiding behind the Monty. Okay, yeah, there he is. Alright, let's see if we can get some shots out on him. He's priority target, of course, because we're protecting the Izumo here. And Monty's shooting the other way, so I can give a bit more broadside than I would normally do. Okay, there's the gearing. Now, for the destroyer, I would switch back to the armor piercing, because let's just get some high explosive shot out, then back to the armor piercing. He's probably got torps away, so I'm going to slow down, because the armor piercing will do very reliable full pens against destroyers at this kind of range. And again, I said it doesn't seem to be quite as punchy as as on the Des Moines, but against destroyers, that means she's much more dangerous with the armor piercing. Yep, there come the torpedoes as predicted. Don't need no Hydra for that. Okay, that was one spread only, so there might be still a second spread around, so I'm just going to be careful. But the dispersion is a bit questionable occasionally. But that's the same with all these ships. A couple more shots out at the gearing. Can we get the kill on this one, or is the carrier taking it? No, gearing turns out. Is he turning all the way? It looks like he's turning all the way. Okay. More gearing shots. I'll keep shooting at the gearing. I mean, the Monty's probably pretty much dead, so just a couple more shots at the gearing. And there she goes. You see these 807 damage, that's full pens. Now, against the Monty, I'm just going to unload the armor piercing and then switch over back to the high explosive. And it doesn't do much, the AP. But, yeah, it's been a ruffle stomp. We've rolled this enemy team pretty bad, so I'm just probably going to farm some more damage on these remaining 2 battleships here. Yep, Yugumo kills the Monty, and that just leaves whatever that is back there. Oh, Seyama. Okay, just a couple more shots. So, in summary, Buffalo. She is not a premium Des Moines. She is a premium Baltimore with an extra turret. And she plays more like I would probably play, and I haven't tried this, but like I would probably play the the Worcester. Because this thing needs to kite and cannot really go bow in on positions. She needs a bit more freedom. She needs to maneuver. At the same time, she does need to stay in island cover. So different playstyle, still a very, very good ship. And again, she's the only tier 10 in the game so far. So yeah, she can do murderous amount of damage. If you get this ship into a good position where you can HE spam and you've got some island cover, my gosh, I can imagine the amount of damage you can do with this thing. I've seen people doing 130,000 points of damage with the ship, easy. Just burning everybody to the ground. So this is a very good ship. My personal opinion, I would probably sail the Des Moines just because I love the bow tanking positioning and the ability to and the maneuverability and the acceleration on the Des Moines. This ship is probably, again, more similar to maybe the Worcester. I don't know. I haven't played her yet, but definitely a worthy addition. And I was kind of afraid that it would have just been a Des Moines with an extra turret, but for cash. That's not what the ship is. This is a very different ship from the Des Moines. So there you go. That's my opinion on her. I think she's a great ship. And now you can make the decision for yourself. And even if you decide that, no, hell no, I am not spending 2,500 gold for a loot crate, you will encounter these things in tier 10 games. So now you know what they're capable of, and you know how to counter them. And that's worth something as well, right? Anyway, I'll see you all next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.